Last night I was taken to LAC USC Medical Center to have an ultrasound of my lower extremity. Well, I suspected that I may have had a blood clot, and I think that was a possibility, and therefore they needed to make sure that that was not the case, because blood clots are relatively risky, especially if they propagate from the legs up into the lungs, so-called pulmonary embolism, which could result in permanent disability or even death. It progressed where the leg felt numb, it felt tense, it was painful all to the top of my foot, which is called the dorsal surface, around the medial aspect of my ankle, and all the way into the mid-calf. The doctor was very professional. She was a female, and very kind and I thought very skillful, and she got a history from me, as I gave you, and then agreed that an ultrasound should be performed to rule out deep vein thrombosis. I was sent to the emergency room subsequently when they were ready for me for an ultrasound. And they did an ultrasound of my right lower extremity. That ultrasound proved that there were no clots in the deep venous system, so that was good. If there were clots present or thrombus, I would have had to stay in the hospital and then be placed on blood thinners. But luckily there wasn't any. So in the end, the doctor agreed with my assessment initially for 10 hoses. I had the one that is called thigh high, so it came all the way up to my level of my groin. Those were the things I had asked the jail for, but it was taking forever to come to me. No, I'm not better. I am still ill. There is no thrombus, but the problem is not resolved. I have had to lie in bed for most of the day because there is no way to elevate my feet. One of the recommendations by the doctor is to keep my legs elevated and to increase my activity, which is impossible in a 5x7 cell. Increase my activity and also to wear the 10 hoses. So I have been able to wear the 10 hose. I have been lying in the bed just so that I avoid as much gravity pull on my circulation to decrease the swelling as much as I can. So that's what I've been doing. I'm lying in bed, which I think on the other hand is an additional risk for me to form blood clots. I have never had any health problems prior to coming into this institution. I believe that clearly I read for very long periods of time. I sit up in order to do the reading, like most people would sit up to read. As a result, by sitting up in one stationary position in a very small cubicle, 5x7, which encompasses my bunk and the toilet, it's almost impossible to have any kind of regular activity like somebody who's on the street who walks around, or even somebody who walks around their home. And therefore, your vascular bed becomes very dilated, as well as your lymphatic system becomes profoundly or markedly dilated, and that results that can result in chronic dependent edema and or potential for lymphedema, which is irreversible, cannot be repaired. And it bothers me. It actually makes me upset, because if the thing becomes refractory, I may never be able to wear a boot again. And I certainly will have to increase my shoe size. I've always said that there's mutual respect between myself and the members of the sheriff department who I'm in contact with for the most part. Exactly. And because of the area where I'm housed, certainly they don't have that activity. Activity is limited. And I understand that they have a security issue. I have been here for a long time. I've been here for at least a year already. And I have actually never gotten upset, but now that I am angry, because it does not please me. My shoulder, 4 months ago, pain in my right shoulder, has resulted in my decreased range of motion and decreased ability to use my right hand. I did not come here like that. I did not expect to be damaged. I don't want to be permanently hurt by any condition in here, because if I am, I will not let it rest.